Have you ever wondered if there's gold in your backyard? Yes, you heard that right. The idea might seem far-fetched, but it's not as impossible as you might think. Welcome to the fascinating world of backyard gold hunting. Across the globe, there are countless stories of people finding precious metals right in their own backyards, and you could be next. Now, it's not about digging aimlessly, hoping for a nugget to suddenly appear. It's a bit more complex than that. Certain locations, due to their geological history, are more likely to contain gold. In fact, it might not be a chunk of gold, but tiny flakes mixed in with the soil. These flakes, although small, can accumulate into something quite valuable. So you might be wondering, how can I start my own backyard gold hunting adventure? Well, wonder no more. But how can you find out if you're sitting on a gold mine? Let's examine the steps together. First things first, you need the right tools to start your gold hunting journey. Let's talk about what you'll need. The most iconic tool of them all, the gold pan. It's your primary tool for separating gold from the soil. It's simple, effective, and has been used for centuries. Next up, we have the trusty shovel. This isn't just for digging holes, it's your key to accessing the gold-rich soil beneath your feet. Then we have the classifier. This tool separates larger rocks and debris from the finer soil, making the panning process more efficient. Don't forget the tweezers. These are essential for picking out the precious nuggets of gold you'll find. And lastly, small containers. These are to store and keep your gold safe. Each tool serves a unique purpose and plays a crucial role in your gold hunting process. With these tools in hand, you're ready for the next phase of your gold hunting expedition. Now that you have your tools, it's time to start collecting soil samples. The first step is to identify potential gold-rich areas in your backyard. You might be wondering, how on earth do I do that? Well, gold is often found in areas where water flows, like near streams or creeks, and where the soil is sandy or gravelly. If you have any such spots in your backyard, that's a great place to start. Now, on to the collection process. It's important to remember that gold is heavy, much heavier than the soil and other elements it's mixed with. Because of this, it tends to sink and settle at lower depths. So when you're collecting your samples, don't just scrape off the top layer of soil. You'll want to dig deep, at least a foot down, to increase your chances of finding gold. Also, don't limit yourself to collecting from just one spot. Gold distribution in soil is rarely uniform. It's often found in pockets or concentrated areas, so you'll want to collect samples from various spots around your chosen area. This will give you a better overall picture of the gold content in your backyard. When collecting your samples, use a clean, dry container to avoid any contamination. If you're using a shovel or a trowel, make sure it's clean as well. The last thing you want is to mix up your potentially gold-rich soil with remnants from your last gardening session. Once you've collected your samples, it's time to bag them up. Make sure to label each bag with the location it was taken from. This will help you remember where you found the most gold, so you can go back and collect more if necessary. And that's it, folks. That's how you collect soil samples for gold prospecting in your backyard. Remember, the more samples you collect, the higher your chances of striking gold. So don't be shy, dig in, and let's see what treasures you can uncover. With your samples collected, it's time to start the fun part: classifying and panning. Classifying is a simple yet crucial step in the process. It involves sifting the soil through a classifier or mesh screen. The objective here is to remove the larger rocks and debris that can't possibly contain gold. This leaves us with finer material that's more likely to hold those precious flecks of gold we're after. Imagine the classifier as your first line of defense, separating the wheat from the chaff, or in our case, the gold from the grit. You'll want to use a classifier with a mesh size that suits your soil. A 1/4-inch mesh is a good starting point, but feel free to experiment to find what works best for your samples. Now, we're ready to move on to the next stage, panning. Panning is a traditional method used by prospectors to separate heavier gold particles from the lighter soil. The principle behind it is simple. Gold is about 19 times heavier than water and substantially heavier than most rocks and minerals in your soil sample. Start by filling your pan with water and your classified material. Agitate the pan, allowing the water to sift through the material and wash away the light soil particles. Keep a watchful eye for any glimmers of gold that might start appearing. With a gentle swirl, the gold, being heavier, will sink to the bottom of the pan, while the lighter soil and rocks get washed out. Continue this process until you're left with a small amount of concentrate at the bottom of your pan. Remember, this is a game of patience and precision. It's easy to get carried away and accidentally wash away gold with the rest of the soil. Take your time, be thorough, and soon enough you'll start seeing those shiny specks of gold appearing in your pan. This process might be time-consuming, but patience is the key to uncovering gold. So, stay persistent, keep panning, and who knows, your backyard might just be a hidden treasure trove waiting to be discovered. Once you've panned your soil samples, it's time to collect and store your gold. Let's delve into the process. Now picture the glimmering specks of gold resting at the bottom of your pan. To collect these precious particles, you'll need a tool as delicate as the task itself: tweezers. Tweezers allow you to pick up even the tiniest flecks of gold with precision. However, ensure that your tweezers are clean and dry to avoid any contamination or loss of gold. You see, gold is a master of hide and seek. It can easily cling to wet or dirty tools and escape your careful collection. Therefore, before you begin, give your tweezers a gentle wipe with a clean, dry cloth to eliminate any moisture or dust particles. Once your tweezers are ready, slowly and carefully pick up each gold particle. Hold your breath if you must, for this process requires the steady hand of a surgeon and the patience of a saint. Now you might be wondering, where do I keep these precious particles? Well, the answer is simple: in a clean, dry, and secure container. This could be a small glass vial, a plastic container, or even a Ziploc bag. The key is to ensure that your container is well sealed to prevent any accidental spills or losses. In addition to this, it's also crucial to keep your gold storage area organized. Label each container with details such as the date of collection and the location of the soil sample. This will not only help you keep track of your gold, but also provide valuable information for future gold hunting endeavors. Remember, the process of collecting and storing gold requires careful attention to detail and meticulous organization. It's not just about finding the gold, it's also about preserving it, cherishing it, and most importantly, preventing it from getting lost. Congratulations! You've now successfully collected gold from your backyard. And with that, you've taken a step closer to becoming a seasoned gold prospector. Happy hunting! So what have we learned in our backyard gold hunting expedition today? Well, we've taken quite a journey, haven't we? We started with the basic understanding that gold, this precious and sought-after metal, might just be lying in our very own backyards, waiting to be discovered. First, we learned about the importance of gathering the right tools. Just like any other expedition, backyard gold hunting requires the right equipment. We need a gold pan, a magnifying glass, a shovel, and a bucket. We also need a classifier or a sieve to help separate larger materials from the smaller ones. Without these tools, the process is nearly impossible. Then we moved on to collecting soil samples. This is a crucial step because it's where the journey begins. We learned how to dig in the right spots, how to collect enough soil, and how to store our samples properly. It's a labor-intensive process, but it's also the first step towards potential gold discovery. Next, we discussed classification and panning. We learned how to use our classifiers to separate larger rocks and debris from the smaller soil particles. Panning, a time-honored method used by gold prospectors, was our next step. We swirled, tilted, and shook our pans, watching as the lighter materials washed away, leaving behind the heavier particles, which could include gold. Finally, we learned about collecting and storing the gold we found. We learned how to carefully pick out the gold particles from our pans and how to store them safely. This is the moment we've been working towards, the moment where all our hard work could potentially pay off. But remember, gold hunting requires patience and perseverance. It's not about getting rich quick. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the joy of discovery, and the satisfaction of knowing you've extracted something valuable from the earth with your own hands. Remember, finding gold in your backyard might not make you a millionaire overnight, but it's an exciting hobby that could potentially uncover some hidden treasures. Happy hunting!